Good morning. Welcome to this service of Unity of Boerne. As usual, we're glad that you tuned in. You're in the house that love built. You're in the place where we celebrate love. We celebrate the miracle of new beginnings. And today we'll be talking about the beautiful, wonderful song that is inside you. You may not have paid attention to it sometimes. You may not be aware of it, but it's there. We'll be exploring that. We look forward to your participation. We'd love to have you come and be a part of us in person. And I'll talk a little bit about that a little later on. So good to have you online. Welcome again to the House that Love Built.
Good morning, everyone. As we prepare to begin, I would like to remind you to please turn off your cell phones, put them away for the remainder of the service so we can give our undivided attention to our performers and our wonderful, wonderful minister. And I was asked to mention that we have the prayer box in the back, and a lot of people put prayers in it, that we bless. There's some money showing up in it. So money doesn't go in the prayer box, it goes in the offering, and if you miss it when it comes down, you can always put it in afterwards or walk out to the office and they'll be happy to take it. So my name is Ann King. We're very honored today to have Dana and Tivo, who we love dearly. Please stand. We're going to have our joy song, Open My Eyes That I May See.
Place in my hands the one
announcements now. Oh, I want to say if this is your first time here, nobody here for the first time. I recognize all of you, but we're happy to have you all with us today. And inside your bulletin, you'll find a prayer request form. If you or anyone you know could benefit from group prayer, which is very, very powerful. We were just talking about it in our Radical Forgiveness group today. Just jot it down, and when the prayer box comes up, you can drop it in then. You can also put it in before church or after church if you like. The prayers are prayed for over by our own prayer circle for a week, and they're also forwarded to Silent Unity, where they are prayed over for a month. So now for the announcements. There is a March-April Daily Word back on the back. It's free. Please take one if you don't have one. And we are always collecting dry goods. I see that it didn't get put out, and that was my bad because I opened today. But it is always by the door if it's not outside the door. And if you have anything that you would be willing to donate, it can be dry goods, toiletries, anything like that. It goes to family services, which help a lot of people in our community. So today is potluck. We have kind of a small group for potluck today, but we have plenty of food. So please join us and have some fellowship with the other people here. And let's see. When you can, please help other volunteers with the cleanup after the church. I take the recycles, and Ann Gully's going to take the trash, but there's always a lot of cleanup, including if you are using the real silverware, all that has to be washed before we leave church. Anytime we have any kind of food stuff left around here, we get mice. This is an old building with lots of little places for things to get in. So there's the Sunday morning book discussion, 9:30 to 10:30 every Sunday. We're doing Radical Forgiveness. It's a new updated version, and it is a fantastic book, absolutely fantastic. Read a little, talk a lot. So come for coffee, tea, and conversation. Nobody's here for the first time, but if any of you are not receiving the emails, which consist of the what's happening, which is what's coming up on Sunday and things, in the monthly newsletter primarily, and once in a while a special announcement like daylight savings time, please sign up at that back table under the chalkboard. Just your name and email is all we need for that, and you'll be put on the list. If you think you're signed up and you're not getting anything, sign up again. And if you still don't get anything, if you have an HCTC address, you're never going to get anything because they won't allow eye contact stuff to come through. But otherwise, you might check your spam folder. They adjust filters periodically, and I have an odd address, GBTC, and every once in a while I have to start going into spam and marking things not spam or pulling them back until it gets the right ID again. So ongoing activities via Zoom, they're in your order of service there. There's the book study, of course, on Sunday, the Course in Miracles group on Wednesday that Jay leads, and the Pathlighters at 8 p.m. on Thursday nights that I think is kind of a joint effort between Bertie and maybe Diane Pope and maybe Jay too, I don't know. So the login information is in your order of service under Unity classes and activities. And there are also links on our Facebook page, unityofboerne.org, and I think also unityofboerne.com. You can get there either way. So, okay, we're going to have the daily word. Ann Gully?
Good morning.
Good morning.
As we quietly and gently prepare for the reading of the daily word, remember that we're in spirit with millions of daily word readers and churches throughout the world. The Christ candle is lit as a reminder of the Spirit of God within all of us, which we call the Christ within. The word for the day is world peace. The affirmation is, I live my vision for a peaceful world. To bring about peace in the world, I begin by paying attention to my first reaction when I feel I've been treated unjustly. I do not deny my feelings, but neither do I allow them, anger, envy, or other negative feelings to take control of my response. I feel my feelings, but I remain committed to living the truth I know. Regardless of behavior, every person is a divine being, living expression of God. I call upon my divine faculties of love, faith, and strength to guide my next steps. No matter how another responds, I remain centered in God. My effort makes a difference. Peace between individuals creates peace within families, in communities, and among the nations of the world. And from the scripture, Isaiah 32:17, the effect of righteousness will be peace, and the results of righteousness, quietness, and trust forever. The affirmation again is, I live my vision for a peaceful world. My name is Ann Gully, and thank you for worshiping with us today.
Thank you, Andrew. All right, please stand. We're going to recite the miracle moment, shining words. Together.
The joy of the Lord is your strength. God in me is infinite wisdom.
He shows me what to do.
In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct thy path. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. Naught can disturb me, for Christ is my peace and my voice. All things work together for good.
In quietness and confidence
Shall be your strength. Faith is the strength of the soul inside, and lost is the man without it. The greatest teaching ever given is Christ in you, the hope of glory. God is my help in every need.
Please remain standing for our celebration song, Onward, Ever Onward.
By rolling standard, we can love.
with our PowerPoint, but now we're ready for the opening prayer, so let's say that together. Unity of Boerne is a vibrant, loving, spiritual community, providing a sacred space for personal growth. We honor and celebrate the Christ within all people. Thank you. Please be seated, and I'm now going to turn this over to Jay for the remainder of the service.
Thank you, Ann. This is usually our prayer time, and we're going to have it, but I'd like to take a moment of personal privilege, if I can, to tell you something about you all. Last night, Janet and I were at a gathering, and a very nice lady with long white hair who lives in this area, who has had some health challenges and can't get out, said that she had heard that this church is just the absolute epitome of love, and that the people in it walk the walk and talk the talk, and she just can't wait to be here and be with us. And I think that that's worth giving you all a hand for living what we teach. Thank each one of you. You are the best. You're the best advertisement for Unity of Boerne that there is. And it is my high honor and pleasure to serve you as your pastor. And those of you who are dealing with us online, who are viewing online, I invite you to be part of us. You're not going to get the experience that this lady talked about, and who wants to come as soon as she can. If you stay there behind the computer, I know it's comfortable. I know you've told me that you're in your pajamas and drink your coffee and this and that, but come on out. If you're able, we'd love to see you. We need to have you part of the house that Love built. You will expand and multiply, help expand and multiply the work that we do here. I look forward to seeing you all. And right now, we're going to enter into prayer. I do want to mention that those of you who are in Pathlighters and know Jim and Mary Tufts, last night at 5:15, Jim Tufts made his transition after a battle, well, not a battle, what he didn't consider it that, they say that, but it was a bout with a glioblastoma, brain tumor, and I've talked with him prior to this. His attitude was wonderful. He was a living, breathing example of what we teach here. And it was my great pleasure to know him. They both considered me their pastor, and I was very honored, even though they live in San Angelo. During the pandemic, our outreach extended, and they became part of this. So I ask for your prayers to be with the Tufts family today as they mourn Jim's transition. And now I'd like to have you all place your prayer requests in the box that's coming forward that Ed will bring. If you haven't yet written them out, please take this opportunity for this moment to place them in, to write them out and place them in the box so that we could pray over them. Sometimes the prayers we have are in our hearts. We don't write them down, they're just always there. And I'll be talking a little more about that later in the service. So right now, Ed, you can bring the prayer box up. Is anybody writing? Thank you, Ed. The united mental force of love that is represented in this room is a prayer in itself, and it prepares us for bringing these requests to the truth of all of our being, the one who's present with us no matter where we go. And right now, we call and invoke that spirit as we bring our requests, our needs, our joys, our desires, our sorrows, our upsets, whatever they may be, we bring them before this spirit that knows all, heals all, comforts those who are afflicted, is with those who are joyous, and all the spaces in between those two poles. Our loving infinite presence, we give thanks that we're able to come to you in prayer. We know that the only type of prayer is answered prayer. And we hold to the promise that you are with us now and always. We ask your presence on those, in those whose lives are represented, prayers of the lives represented in this box. And those who have requests that are unspoken and silent. You know the needs of every heart. We affirm that your presence is here. We know your perfect will is being done in the lives of those who recognize you as the truth of being. We know that all things work together for good to them who are called according to purpose. And the purpose we affirm is love, healing, strength, joy, comfort, peace, prosperity, and most of all, love. We give thanks for your presence right here and now. And so it is. Amen.
There's a song in my heart I wish that I could sing. It would mean everything to me if my heart could sing. There's a song in my heart I wish that I could share to everyone, everywhere I would sing. If my heart could sing, I'll sing a song of joy, a song of peace, a song of love that will never cease. I sing a song of hope, a song of brotherhood, a song that won't be misunderstood. If my heart could sing, I'll sing a song. 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 Thank you.
I'm supposed to follow that? Wow.
Just don't sing it.
Boy, is she right. As a matter of fact, I remember when I was first ordained, one of the district superintendents said, "Are you a preaching pastor or a singing pastor?" I said, I'm going to preach because if I sing, I'll run everybody out of the church. But it's about that, really, this morning that I want to talk to you about the song that is in our heart, the things that popular culture have talked about so many years, so many times. I have a song in my heart. There's a melody in my spirit. We see it in movies, especially the old ones. But this morning, I want to remind you that what is out there, whether it's on movie screens or televisions or whatever, is always a mirror of what's inside us. In other words, it is our consciousness outpictured. We resonate to music, and some of us resonate more than others. Like I said, I can't sing, but I feel it deeply in my heart and in my spirit. There is a melody that is part of my life, and I want to talk to you about that. And even, you know, our very fundamentalist brothers and sisters say there's a song in my heart, Jesus keeps me singing. Jesus, 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 sweetest name I know, fills my every longing, keeps me singing as I go. And that's a fundamentalist hymn written in 1869 by Fanny Crosby, Southern Baptist hymn writer. And we think of that properly as pretty fundamentalist, but they recognized the song and singing and being part of our lives. But I want to go even into a lot more depth about that this morning. In our Course in Miracles, there is a reference to the ancient song that we hear wisps and sort of little bits of every now and then. It's a song that tells us who we are. It's sort of like the melody of our divine mind. It's what you feel a lot of times when you're alone. It's the sounds that you hear that you resonate to. And you know that for yourself better than I. You know how it feels when you sit in the silence and the voices may talk, and then when they calm down, you kind of say, this is the kind of person I am, or this is the kind of thing that I feel, and you become sort of comfortable with yourself, even if you were outwardly uncomfortable with yourself. I know that's tricky, but everybody, from atheist to fervent believer, has a sense of self that they live with. And what I'm talking about, the ancient song, colors that. It's a creativity that's in all of us. And our personality takes that and molds it into some, it's a dirge, into some, it's a lighthearted melody, and to others, it's a full jazz concert. And sometimes it's all of those in the space of 5 minutes or a lifetime. What I'd like for you to know this morning is that the force that is within you, that is your elan vital, as it's called, that animates you, the force that's within you is ever seeking, bursting through, wanting to burst through to give you new life. We celebrate new life here, and we do it very well, as you just heard with this song. When we sing congregationally on Sundays, we're doing the same thing. When we hum a melody alone, we're doing it. When we go to a concert, we're listening to it. We are lovers of music. I have not met anyone in my lifetime yet that said they dislike music. They may dislike certain types. Some may be more for them than others, but everybody likes music that I know of. And so if your life was a musical today, would it be a sad one? Would it be a happy one? Would it be somewhere in the middle? Have you even thought of that? Have you thought of these truths about who you are? You see, I think we don't go into depth enough in ourselves. We take ourselves at face value a lot of times. We just kind of push behind us and push aside those things that really we should be thinking about, but we think they maybe don't count or they don't matter. The little things matter. They add up to the big things. And this morning, I'd like for you to take a few minutes to think about this with me. Paramahansa Yogananda in the Divine Romance talked about the song of the heart being a call back to God. Ernest Holmes in 1926, who was not a yogi and certainly not under particularly Eastern influence, called the melody of life is the elixir and tonic to the soul. What we listen to, what we think about, what we entertain, we become, not only in words, but in music. I remember as a boy, my parents could walk into my room at any time when I was a teenager and see my head between two speakers. I mean, that's the way it was. I laid on the floor with those old turntables, had the vinyl records, and I stacked them up, and they just dropped one after another. It would be Neil Diamond or Joni Mitchell or whatever. I just lay there and drink it in. And it just sometimes, it resonated with the drama of what I was going through at the time. I'd pick those songs. Elton John says, sad songs say so much. If I was hurt or upset, I'd put on those old sad songs and I'd really get into it. Or if I'd had a celebration or victory, I'd put on Bachman Turner Overdrive. I mean, that can't get you up, nothing can. This was the great music of, I'm dating myself, of my time. And today I want you to know that you have your head between two speakers, whether you realize it or not. You're listening to things that you have heard about yourself and about others in the past. And sometimes it is set to music. We remember a movie that moved us, a play that moved us, a television show that moved us. All these things become part of things that build neural pathways in our minds. We build the ruts, and I'm not using that negatively right now. We build the ruts that we're going to travel in. Choose well what you entertain, because you will express that in your mind in one way or another. As a matter of fact, for myself, I never go to sleep leaving the television on. Unless it's just a pure music channel, and I think you all know with these 800 channels that they have now, there's some dedicated solely to music. But I certainly wouldn't do it with the news or things like that, because the mind is impressionable when you're asleep. And it will take that in, and in some way or another, you can internalize that, and you'll feel the way that what your subconscious has just taken in, what you've heard. Guard your mind with all diligence, for out of the heart proceeds the issues of life. Those aren't my words. These are the words of the Master. But in Psalm 100 it says, make a joyful noise unto the Lord. Sing. And so we can't walk around singing all the time out in public. I guess we could, but might be thought a little strange. But we have a song that we carry with us. What backs your life up? What are you listening to? What repeats in your mind? Think of this. You ever heard the story or the idea that I can't get this song out of my head? It goes around and around and around. Why? Because neural pathways are trying to be formed to take that in, but you already have that, so it has no place to land. I found this out by talking to a neuropsychologist. I'm voraciously curious about the human mind, because that's the place, as Dr. Smiley Blanton, the great psychiatrist, said, the subconscious is that place that God presides and resides. So in other words, if you take something into your conscious mind and your subconscious disagrees with that, the subconscious will always win. That's why I believe we've got to till the grounds of our mind and be very, very clear about what it is we want and what we want to experience, and give instructions to our mind and say this or something better for the highest good of myself and all concerned. Your divine insurance policy that lets you be open to many more blessings than you might be seeing right now. What's the song of your life this morning? Has it been sad up till now? Has it been joyous? Has it been happy? Have you made a joyful noise unto God? Or have you felt that you're kind of just moving along with a song that's kind of sad and lonely and disconsolate and heartrending? Many people live like that. And they don't know that there's another way. And the reason they don't know that there's another way is because I think when they've been presented with it, they don't want to know there's another way. Holding on to suffering can be an experience of joy to some people. I've told you a long time ago when I first got here, there is sometimes in some people a certain perverse joy in biting down on a sore tooth or flicking a hangnail. It hurts so good. And I've heard that in my first year pastorate psychology class about how we can do that. And we do that sometimes as humans. We will repeat over and over and over again things and thinking that maybe we can make them turn out differently by thinking about them again. Or we get a perverse satisfaction in remembering how it hurt. It's sort of sadomasochistic. But through all these permutations of being human, through all these things that we do, there is one clear, beautiful song that resonates through every person who's ever been born on this planet. And how do I know that? The creative force could do nothing else. It's in, and I don't like this term particularly, but it's in saint and sinner alike. It comes with us as part of a package in our birth. And our job, our divine employment is to bring forth who we are in truth. We are enjoined to do that. And the job of being human, the job of being on this earth and going through what we go through is our destiny. That is what we're to do right here. In other words, what's in front of us. And with the song that's in your heart this morning, does that back up your intention? In other words, are you believing something about yourself that isn't true while you're affirming something with your mouth? As I said, subconscious will always win. And so you have to guard your mind very well. Watch what you listen to and who you listen to. And if they're not bringing out the best in you, you need to step back, step away, and think again. There is always some place or somebody you could go to who will bring out the best in you, that wants to see more of what is true about you. That's what we do here every Sunday morning. That's what we do online. Pathlighters does that on Thursday nights. When we meet at the Course of Miracles on Wednesday night, we're doing that. We're calling forth the best in one another. And that's what I want to do every Sunday here. Every time that I'm in front of you, I want you to know about your inherent, wonderful possibilities for growth. And it doesn't have to be something that's earth-shaking. It's not something that you have to go out and make just wholesale change about, although I think there's a great value in that. You could start small, and you could realize the answer to the question, who and what have I been listening to? And is the, quote, soundtrack of my mind what I want to experience? We all love music, and we all have this music inside ourselves. When you're alone, and I'd like for you to think about this morning. When you're alone, what plays inside you? I mean, when the voices stop, because we all have monkey chatter in our mind in meditation. That's just part and parcel of being human. But what do you truly think about yourself when you're alone? When nobody's there and you have the opportunity to sit in the silence. What goes through your mind? It's at those moments that you're crafting your destiny, because nobody else is there. Nothing is in front of you particularly. Your eyes perhaps are closed, and you're knowing and realizing this, whatever this is who I am. And I'm telling you this morning that in that place, when you're open and you're vulnerable to yourself, is the place where the greatest change can occur. And it occurs because you're willing, you're open, and you're thinking. Even if you haven't said, I'm willing to be transformed, you've set the stage for it. Now take the next step and ask yourself, what could I do and be if I released the opinion I have of myself right now? Providing that opinion, I don't want you to exchange an opinion that's good, but so many of us have at the best, mixed opinions. Do you realize if we told every child from the beginning, from the time that they were born, how wonderful they are and how majestic the God within them is, and that how loved they are, that they are a perfect child of a perfect God, do you realize the kind of world we could have if we stopped filling our minds with repetitive, negative thinking and negative statements? But it feels so good sometimes. It feels good to point that finger. It feels good to make that judgment. It feels good to criticize that person. You know why? Because we're getting a sense of feeling like, I'm above that. I wouldn't do that. And yet we do. We're doing it when we're noticing it. In other words, what you pay attention to, you will become. I'm asking you to do what's really said in Scripture. Guard your heart zealously, for out of it proceeds the issues of life. Guard your mind. Be careful what you think about. The old metaphysicians used to say, what you think about, you bring about. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. So when you feel that you have this melody that I'm talking about, or you're familiar with what it sounds like inside you, even if it's just a high-pitched sound of life, that's the time to get up and go before a mirror and open your eyes and look yourself dead center in that glass and say, I am strong, I am powerful, I am a perfect child of a perfect God. You start believing that when you're open. You start believing that and things are going to change for you. I've seen it happen in too many lives. I've also seen people crash on the rocks of a self-opinion that they couldn't let go of. They identified with something or someone in their past, and they sold their life to that thought. I ask you this morning to rise above that thought. If you have it and you want to talk about it to somebody, please do. If you don't, journal about it. If you don't want to journal about it, think about it. This is going to be the springboard for your new life. I referenced the Course in Miracles a moment ago that talked about the ancient song, somewhere deep inside you, and I'm paraphrasing this beautiful course, somewhere deep inside you, there is the faint whisper of a song that you know, and it guides you. It's in you, it guides you, it's part of you. And the world and all the things of it and the body and all the attention we pay to everything but that has gotten in our way of connecting and staying connected with that. I know that everyone in front of me and those who are online, you want more living, more life, more good. And there's a number of ways to say what I'm saying this morning. And I know that I've heard many ministers that have talked about the idea of transformation through listening to that inner voice. But I wanted to go deeper this morning and talk about where that inner voice comes from. It is the memory of your heritage before you ever set foot on this planet. You are perfect, and you are wonderful, and you are divine. And we come down here and we get told, I say down here as if heaven's up there, isn't that something? But we're here and we're told things and we believe those things and we act those things out. It's a subtle distinction, but you ever heard the idea when some child does something wrong, they say, you're a bad boy, you're a bad girl. Instead of saying, the thing you did was bad, please don't do that. It's a subtle distinction. But you hear these things often enough, long enough, and sometimes loud enough, and you get to a certain age, and you really don't know how to believe anything different about who you are unless somebody comes along and talks to you or shows you. Well, somebody did that 2,000 years ago. And somebody's doing that right now in this pulpit. And a group of somebodies are listening. because every one of you are the Christ. Every one of you have the Christ within you, as I have within me, as the person down the street has within them. In our unity, it's beautiful the way that we greet one another, and they do this at the village a lot. It is, the Christ in me beholds the Christ in you. What if we met everybody that way? What if the song inside us kept us singing the idea of joy, to be alive and to be a blessing to those who came before us? Isn't that what we're trying to do in all the books we study, in all the tracts that we've read, in all the sermons we've listened to, up to, including, and most especially mine? What I'm trying to do is talk about more life, better life. And if you've never thought about it until now, this is your opportunity. Sit alone in a room. 30, I'm sure many of you have already. But sometimes when you can catch yourself off guard, decide that you're going to sit down and listen to what's inside you. And if you go past the surface minutia of life and the things that we sometimes pick up like static electricity, and the thoughts that just really don't mean anything, if you go beyond that, you'll find a deep, rich reservoir of love and truth. It's there. And people said, what does it sound like? And I said, for me, it sounds like, I love you, and I've been here all the time. Welcome home. It took me a while to get there because I couldn't seem to cut through the din of competing voices that I had heard all through my life, mixed with my own precious, darling opinions that usually resonated with what I heard. In other words, I wanted to be me, not a copy of me, and not something that I was told I was by somebody else, no matter how much they love me. I want the people around me to be who they are. And when you are that, you are representing the truth of your being, and the Christ is born anew in you. And when you overcome the things that are in your life, the Christ is resurrected again. That's the meaning, the true meaning to me of Easter. We crucify the idea of the false self. We let that go. And we recognize that the false self has to go in order for the truth of our being to come forth. And when we do that, we transcend, or we resurrect from limitation. This morning, I ask you to think about what you can let go of. It's heavy to hold on to certain things. It gets heavy just picking up neutral thoughts. That's why our meditative practices are so important. That's why our hypnotists can do such wonderful things when they can pierce through this idea of who you are and get to the truth of what you need to let go of and what is blocking you from experiencing new life. We have a number of talented hypnotists in this church, and I've seen their work firsthand, and I know what they can do. What I'm saying is, if the pounding, persistent I thought in you this morning is producing for you less than what you want, you have a way to interrupt it right now. And when you do, when you interrupt that thought, when you at least say, I'm not going to pay attention to it at this moment for this period of time, you've begun the idea of transformation. It's not all one great big leap. Usually it's increments. We grow incrementally, but true growth is never forgotten, and it builds one step on another. You take that spiritual journey. There, Alcoholics Anonymous has the 12 steps. There are steps 1 through 12 that you go through, and so it is with spiritual growth. You might have an experience of Satori, instant awakening. I don't discount that. I've seen and heard of those that do, but more often than not, we take our lives as we understand them, a minute at a time, or a day at a time, or however it is, and our change comes about when we're willing to release. The melody that comes forth in you when you've done that will be the true one. And you will resonate and say, where has this been? Why did I entertain all these thoughts about myself and these situations that were less than what they could have been or should have been? I know that should word, I don't like it very much, but for me, when I think about what I could have done, I say, yes, I should have done that because I did know better. There were times that I knew better and went contrary to that. And I hold myself to account for that. I'm not asking for you all to beat yourself up this morning. I'm saying a wholesome self-discipline is going to get you where you want to be. We want transformation. We want more life. And we want to hear the beautiful melody of life unimpeded by whatever has happened to us. You can do that this morning by a simple choice. Choose to let go and choose to walk to your music, however measured and however far away and however distant. As Thoreau said, if a man doesn't keep pace with his companions and he steps to a tune that's different and far away, I'm paraphrasing, leave him alone. And that goes for a woman too. Leave them alone. Let them be. Let them walk by the light they have. Let them honor the God Spirit that's within them, within you, within me, within everything. We just have to make it real or realize that. And now we're going to go into meditation right now. That we'll talk about, think about the idea of letting go of the fears that we have of being who we are. The fears we have of newness. The ruts we can be in sometimes can feel, although badly, they also are comfortable. We need to get uncomfortable with any rut we're in to get out of it. So I ask you to join me in meditation right now. I send you blessings and love from my heart to yours. May the melody of your life be everything that it's meant to be and that you want it to be. God bless you.
In the midst of his children, the Lord said that he would be. It doesn't take very many, it can be just 2 or 3. And I feel that same sweet spirit that I've felt oft times before. Surely I can say I've been with the Lord. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace. There's a holy hush of angel wings. I see glory in each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace. There's a holy hush of angel wings. I see glory in each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Now, we take a deep breath or two, and we center ourselves. And in this moment, the sacred moment, we know that our peace is found in the heart of God within, the Christ within. It is the center, the very center of our being. Doesn't matter how closely the confusion of the outer world presses against us. We are not disturbed by the confusion the environment that is around us. We know that the only way to counteract any upset is to bring peace into play. The Master said, "Peace I leave you, my peace I give unto you. Not as the world give I unto you." And in this moment, these beautiful words of assurance stay with us, and we hear them re-echoing in the depths of our being, mixing with the wonderful song of life that's inside us. And at this very wonderful juncture we're at right now, we surrender all of our fears. The nameless fears which have beset us for so long, dulling our pleasure in life and clouding us with misery and apprehension. Right now we affirm we are through with fear. What is there for a divine and immortal being to fear? We don't fear people, for we are a divine and immortal being, and so is every other person. And every other person is our brother or sister. In this silence, we recognize the one life principle working in and through and inspiring the motives of everyone we meet. We do not fear sickness, disease, because the eternal and perfect life spirit animates our body and goes always about its perfect work, healing and renewing our body. We are not afraid of want or lack, for the one infinite essence supplies us with everything we need all of the time. There is nothing for us to fear. We are an inseparable part of God. We say inside that we live in God, God lives in me, and I draw upon that perfect peace. And as we do that, as we resonate to these truths, that ancient song that we're vaguely aware of becomes more clear. We release right now anything unlike the beauty of who we really are. And we give thanks that we're able to do this and receive life more abundant. We affirm that now. And we gently bring ourselves back to the present moment, invigorated, refreshed, renewed, and ready to go forth and do wonderful things. We declare our wonderful intentions are true. And so it is. Thank you for being here this morning. It's wonderful to see you all again. We're always blessed to have you when you're here. Right now, we come to the top point in our service where it is our privilege to give as we receive. We know that when we do give, we are invoking the law of multiplicity, that what we give comes back to us. As it says in Malachi, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will I give you gifts. And will rebuke the devourer for your sake. And what is that in metaphysics? The devourer is all negative things. We turn to the Spirit of truth and we give joyously.
Freely, freely, I have received. Freely, freely, I give. Divine love through me, this is all that I am, all that I give and receive. Divine love through me, this is all that I am, all that I give and receive.
Thank you, Ed. And for those of you that are tuned in on from Path Letters right now, or as we know, they're all over the United States that have tuned in to Unity of Boerne. By the way, we have a lot of followers on our Facebook. I just put that out there right now for what it's worth. We reach a lot of people, and those of you who are being reached, we need you to press that PayPal button. Not because we're going to go under without your support, but your generous gifts make this ministry much more possible, delivered with much more ease. And I know that you want to give as you've received. And if you prefer sending a check, please do so to Unity of Boerne, P.O. Box 1973, Boerne, Texas 78006. Unity of Boerne, P.O. Box 1973, Boerne, Texas 78006. Or just press the PayPal button at the bottom of your page. And we look forward to seeing you when you're able to come in person. And right now, we repeat our wonderful prayer of increase. We say, divine love through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I send it forth with my blessings and my love. God bless each of you. Thank you for being here.
Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
Together we stand and join hands as we feel comfortable.
Let there be
you once again for joining us here at Unity of Boerne, on Scenic Loop Road, right here in on the edge of Boerne, in the old schoolhouse church, sometimes known as the schoolhouse church, because this building actually used to be in the 1800s and early 1900s. Through the middle of the 1900s, there was school activities going on in this building. We often come together, we think, there's something here that we feel, it feels like when I was a happy child. And certainly, school has traditionally been a happy place for students everywhere, because we grow and we appreciate ourselves and we appreciate those who bring the new learning to us. It's an amazing sort of thing to happen. And I don't want to spend too much time echoing what Reverend Jay had to say, but I'm going to tell you that there is a feeling here. Without a doubt, there's a feeling. It's something special. And we do invite you and encourage you to come and experience that for yourself. And this is in no way some ploy to get you in here so we can get money out of you. The point is that there's something special, and this is something that can't be lost, and it can't be thrown away. It's just part of what we are, who we are, how this place and these people have been since they came together. So come with us, come and join us one of these Sundays and enjoy what we call the Sunday experience. Have the most wonderful rest of your week, and know that we see you complete, we see you whole, we see you healthy, we see you in the arms of the one true God who serves all of his children on this planet. Thank you so much for being together with us. Have a wonderful day. Be fulfilled.